One, two. Okay. I think we should be live. Let me quickly confirm if that's the case. Yeah, we are live on air, so we can start. So welcome everyone. My name is Hightech. Of course, on these live streams, I always talk about the recent developments in cryptocurrency sphere. What I think about it regarding 11 years of my experience, and of course, in between the lines, I talk about the only project I promote here, which is Hightech meme coin, what it is and why you might be interested. So let's go. Let me quickly review if everything is fine here. I don't have anything weird on the screen, but I don't think so. Okay, so we can switch. So apparently we are still in this transitioning period from bear to bull. That's how I see it. I think the secondary dip I was predicting, the day before yesterday, and prior, we already have it behind us. I think it was this. It has, let's say, um, all qualities necessary, practically. Um, I mean, maybe not. We'll see. Maybe not. Maybe we still have to go slightly deeper, but yeah, in my opinion, that could be it. That could be it when we switch to greater time frame. This could be already, the classical W we usually see after a little bit sharper price corrections. So yeah, that's what I'm betting on right now. That we have all of it already behind, and now the sky is clear, and we should see a lazy growth with slow acceleration, getting faster and faster. The more we move towards the end of this week, things should accelerate, at least in theory, unless we get hit once again with something really, really big. But I don't really see that happening, to be honest. So yeah, I think you should be throwing something at the market right now. Of course, and don't go all in. I always warn you guys not to go all in because I've been saying to allocate into altcoins for months already. And if anybody went all in, it was completely powerless when this dip happened here on altcoin side. It was very juicy. You could, it was a huge discount, right? It was a huge, huge, very quick discount. Most of the coins quickly rebounded from it. Many are almost where they were before the crash. So it was a huge opportunity. So if that does not explain you why you should always have a little bit of dry powder on the side, nothing will. So guys, if you have any questions, of course, write me in the live chat. I will see it here. I also opened a live chat for Kik. Why? Because yesterday, as you see, I had a conversation here from one viewer, one follower on Kik. Here, it does not work. So that's why I open it in a separate tab, so I don't miss on it. The next time anybody wants to say something here or ask me something. And of course, if you don't have anything to say, then just write hi. That will do. That will do just fine. So yes, as you see, the altcoin market is doing fairly well today. There is a little bit of red here and there, but vast majority is green, and even aggressively green. So altcoins are recovering in a very nice way, and that is exactly how I was predicting it will happen. And here, as you see, we are floating slowly towards towards a higher level. The next obstacle is at $290 billion on other chart, and I don't think, to be honest, it's going to be a big one. I think we will overcome it fairly easy, stay there maybe around the day, at most two, and then we will just dominate it. So yeah, I know right now, to some of you, it could create an impression, let's say, that it's going too slow. It's going too slow. Something's wrong. This thing is about to roll over. Well, it's always like that. After a big crashes, is never immediate. It's not always immediate. Absolutely not always immediate. It always takes several days, a week, sometimes maybe two, before we transition into that powerful rally phase, right? So I know it's very easy to acquire the optic that now everything has to happen in a blink of an eye. Whenever you participate in a flash like this, whenever it happens right in front of your eyes. But those events are very rare. Markets normally don't move that fast. They move fast only at given times, right? Certain situations, like on Friday. But that's not the rule of the market. Usually, it it makes sure that it does something when you put your head to the pillow, right? So it takes things easy for most of trading. It takes things easy, and that is why there is that saying that if you miss literally on few days in a year, you will miss all of the gains in the crypto market. I mean, that let's say that proverb almost talked about Bitcoin specifically, but it works very well with the altcoin market too. Of course, since it's all very interconnected, and wherever Bitcoin goes, altcoins follow, oftentimes much stronger. So let me review the live chat just so I don't miss on anybody here. Okay. So yeah, Bitcoin dominance is also having somewhat predictable day. I mean, so far it's in red. So far it's in red. It's tried to recover slightly, but I think it's going to end like this, right? In red. The traditional market looks like we'll have a quite good trading session, because I see pre-market on SPY, as you see, is much higher than yesterday's close. It's much higher. You see, so probably S&P 500 will open higher. So we are recovering, right? We are coming back where we were before Friday, and yeah, exactly as predicted. Like, no surprise here at all. Absolutely not. I know there was some announcement on BRIC side of the globe. I don't know exactly what it was talking about, what he was referring to. But because of it, I heard that the Trump's stance on China got a little bit more easy. Later, when we go to X to review my timeline, probably we will find something about it. So I'm curious myself, because I saw it like very briefly. I don't really know about the details. For finding out myself probably on this live stream. So yeah. But so far, as you see, things are leaning back the right way. So this mini crash, actually, because we cannot call it a huge crash on traditional market, highly likely was just a temporary deviation. And the deviation in a sense of how quick it happened, because if it was spread throughout several days, we wouldn't even notice, right? The only thing that got it fame was how fast it went, right? But now we are recovering, so we are coming back to normal. Of course, the whole spectacular story happened on altcoin side, right? Because when we look at Bitcoin, that's nothing out of the ordinary. The correction there from the local top to the local bottom was like 16%. So yeah, we've seen much bigger than that on Bitcoin. But the whole show happened on altcoins, where some of them went even minus 99%, which is definitely very spectacular event to mention. And that supports my theory that simply we are hugely oversold, hugely oversold. So it has to result in a huge rally. I don't see any other possibility, to be honest here. That would be something very, very weird if we continue to do what we've been doing for recent months, and actually for now even we can say years. It will be extremely weird. I think this will happen was the final condition that grants us has been fulfilled, has been checked, right, on the list that grants us alt season. Even though right now, the sentiment does not point to that. Many people will have doubts, and that's also needed. Market never can be certain. I mean, it must be as doubtful as possible. Otherwise, rallies will not occur. It will be overloaded, right? The bull will notice somebody is trying to mount it, and then we start kicking and moving to the sides. It will not want to go smoothly in one direction. That's why we call it a bull market, because it literally has a character of a bull. So yeah, just have a little bit more patience, and it will be greatly rewarded. I'm absolutely sure. And who knows, maybe it will be a good advice to throw something at Hitech, right? At the meme coin I advertise here. Since this is the only project I advertise here on my social media, and it will stay that way, you could treat it a little bit like a stock market of my social media. So for example, if you like the format in which I run, this show, and you predict that I will grow in popularity, and at some point I will be on pair with the biggest, influencers in this space, then definitely you want to have something here. You want to have a little bit of stake here, right? Because this is just the beginning. Recently, we acquired 2 new holders, so now there's 63 of us, right? That's still nothing, because if you compare it to whichever coin that is trending here, we must be talking about thousands of holders, right? So with 63, from $1 we went to 307, and now we are at 135. Imagine what will happen with price if we get 1,000 holders, right? 2,000, 5,000. That's something that will come inevitably. So yeah, just be here before that happens. I'm very sure it's going to turn out to be a good advice, an amazing advice even. Okay, let's go over to liquidation Hitmap, and let's see how is it going right now. Okay, quite even, like more or less the same amount of liquidity beneath the price as above the price. But let's go to greater scope, like 2 weekly, for example. Okay, so here situation is slightly clearer. definitely more liquidity above the price, and still a lot of it, of course, above all-time high, but it's a little bit fading, so probably it's spreading. It's slowly spreading, which supposed to happen. I was pointing it out recent days when it still was very well yellow, right? I said if this is organic, over time we will see it spreading towards where the price is. Why? Because people are losing patience. People are starting to have doubts, and that's why they're moving their shorts positions lower, right? So this is the after effect of it is that here we are losing that strong yellow color, right? Because people are fleeing from this zone and they go lower. So that confirms my assumption that it was organic, right? That this liquidity here was organic from the beginning, and apparently that's the case. If you guys have any questions, of course, ask me in the live chat. Don't be shy. So here we have SPYX, which is tokenized version of SPY, the one that we just checked that has not opened yet. But here the trading is ongoing 24 hours, so that's why we don't have to really wait for SPY opening on NYSE. We have a glimpse into what is already happening on the chart here, and as you see, we are aggressively coming back, right? We are almost back home. We are literally at the gate of the garden. So that's cool. Of course, many people got caught completely off guard here, especially in the altcoin market. I mean, the amount of people that was complaining about losing literally their whole life savings, especially because some of them were doing DCA for years, and then out of nowhere they decided that, you know what, I will try leverage. I mean, that's the stupidest thing you can do, because at least once a decade something like on Friday will happen, and that's guaranteed. That's pretty much guaranteed. Never use futures market for trading. Stay with spot market, and you'll be safe. I was even watching a YouTube channel. I mean, a material from a YouTube folk. I think his name was Espinosa. And I think the channel wasn't in English. It was maybe in Portuguese or Spanish, something like this. I mean, the last name indicates that kind of let's say native language. I didn't check it, but because it was translated by YouTube to English. And he's an influencer, that's for sure. He had like 33K followers, I think, or subscribers. And he was talking about how he got wiped out on futures market, and explaining if I was on spot, I would be still with my money because the price rebounded. Right? So yeah, that's why you should always stay on spot market, because it gives you a collection of arguments of power, something you are completely deprived of on futures market. And that is why it literally makes no sense to risk that much. There's a very little reward. I mean, there is illusion of high reward, but as a matter of fact, the reward is lesser because you risk it much more, like multiple times more. So, I mean, it's not even the multiplier you use. It's the multiplier you use in margin trading or futures trading does not really explain how much more you bump up the risk. You actually have to still, the multiplier you use, you must multiply by 2. Then you get the real amount of risk you are standing in front of. Why? Because in futures market you can long and short. In spot you can only, on spot market you can only long, right? So it adds additional whole layer than that you don't have on spot market. So that's why you must multiply it times 2, because there is whole additional layer where you can commit very severe mistakes. It gives you 2 sides to get liquidated. And in the crypto market, the market such volatile, it is much more risky to short than to long, because how many shorts got liquidated, how many longs got liquidated like on Friday in the history of altcoins? Not that many. From, I don't know, some level to minus 99.8 in matters of 2 hours or minutes in some cases. How many coins suffer something like this? Not many. And how many coins went up 100% in few minutes just to come down where they were before and just go sideways? It happens like every single, I don't know, day. Every single day. So that's why whenever you apply shorting to your scheme, to your trading scheme, you expose yourself to such a high degree of risk that you must end up in losing money. There is no other way. So just avoid it. Just forget about it. Stay with spot. You'll be much better. I guarantee you that. Okay, and funny enough, I recent times I talk about it quite frequently on my channels, and then the Friday happened. Okay, let's take a look at my X timeline. Let's see what's new today. Breaking: Kenya officially signs the Virtual Asset Service Providers Bill into law. Okay, it has been signed, but it's not law yet because it must be published in the book of bills, and then it becomes law. Until it's not published, it's actually not law. And then from there, companies have 6 months, which is also granted by law, to comply with the new regulations. Okay, what else? Breaking: centralized exchanges are seeing record-breaking asset outflows today. Binance just took the biggest hit with over 21 billion in withdrawals. Are people losing trust in exchanges? Well, almost every single black swan it happens, so nothing new. Okay, this guy is not very intelligent. I'm not going to give him airtime here. Share, like, and subscribe, by the way, if you haven't done so, or follow, right? If you watch me on X, then give me a follow. And guys, write something in the live chat, right? Because otherwise, I mean, at least to me, it's much more boring, right? When I have to just, come up with what to talk about, it's much heavier to me, and to viewers, it's also much more boring. It's always the most fun when there is interaction from viewer side. That's the point of this format, right? That you guys can also co-create this content. Going to Telegram, just in Tether minted $1 billion USDT. Kenya's president just signed a bill to legalize Bitcoin and crypto for its 60 million citizens into law. That's not exactly that, but but yeah, they introduced some new regulations. What else we've got? China Merchants Bank has officially tokenized a $3.8 billion fund on BNB chain. That's interesting. That's interesting. But probably it will also land on Solana too. World's highest IQ holder just said the smarter you are, the more Bitcoin you hold. He's absolutely right. I mean, he must be aware that nothing is granted in this world, unfortunately, long term. Bitcoin has a chance to stay around, but that's not guaranteed. It will have to overcome many very difficult obstacles. One of them, I was even talking about yesterday. One of them is, of course, quantum computing, which for now seems like it got completely stalled. Like it's the any progress there right now is not leading really anywhere. Any progress that we can read about. There's no major breakthroughs. Although, with the help of artificial intelligence, it's very difficult to tell when those barriers will crumble. Theoretically speaking, quantum computing is something that allows things running into paradoxes. So probably they are not as powerful, they are not as amazing as we used to hear. We are used to hear. But I think the second, which is actually much more probable threat, and we are definitely much closer to it, is called fusion, which gives us very cheap, almost free energy, right? And so my question is how Bitcoin is going to withstand something like that, because one of its core intrinsic values is that it needs uh, quite vast amounts of electricity to be produced, right, to be served, to be produced. And once that leg is taken away, will it be able to keep standing? That is what is keeping, let's say, everybody away from producing Bitcoin easily. The cost of electricity, the cost of energy. So yeah. Latest ETH ETF recorded an inflow of $236,200,000 yesterday. Fidelity purchased 154,600,000 in Ethereum. Okay, so majority of that was just Fidelity alone. I mean, their customers, of course, because those large fund managers, they do not really buy crypto for their own funds. The crowd is panicking. Bitcoin isn't. Extreme fear always feels like the end, but it's just the reset. Did you buy the dip? You're still waiting for permission. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Whenever price just tanked by a large amount, nobody wants to be the first to buy. But that is where the most reward lays. And it's actually, in most cases, it's quite easy to get rewarded in such circumstances. But sometimes it goes the other way. Unfortunately, like for example with Mantra went down like minus 80 some percent, then went sideways, and now on Friday it tanked another minus 80%, right? So, and it actually it constantly scores huge dips every now and then. So anybody who does DCA on Mantra must feel very disappointed. I was showing yesterday what exits I've got on that chart, and literally my algorithm saved me from participation in every single dip that happened there, and most of them are quite sizable. But at some point it will find a bottom too, and it will have a rally. Unfortunately, that rally will not recover all of those losses. That's just simply impossible. Solana ETF update. Vanek has filed an updated Solana staking ETF proposal now with a 0.3% fee. Okay. Yeah, I've seen that Cosmos probably will move to Solana. Atom. No, not Atom. Sorry, Act. Act will move to Solana because okay, now I get it why I confused, because Act, which is this is the full name of it. I don't remember the full name of it. Akash or something like that. Where is it? Akash. Okay, Akash. So they are moving to from Cosmos to Solana. No wonder, because Solana right now is actually the only infrastructure that can serve global traffic and is super cheap and it's super fast. So yeah, that's why Hightech meme coin has been issued on Solana network too. So it's easy to transact, it's easy to trade, and it's very fast to transfer. But let me quickly check the chats just in case. I don't want to be guilty of ignoring anybody here. I know how it feels. Whenever I see someone has written something and I did not respond, it makes me feel bad. Like I missed on an opportunity to have a nice conversation with someone here on air. That always enriches the experience. Going Telegram, bullish Bitcoin share. Tommy says Ethereum going to $12,000 wouldn't be a blow off top. It will just be price discovery at a new level. Ethereum conserves the potential to go high as long as staking is not introduced on spot ETFs for Ethereum. Later, yeah, it will probably still have a little bit of upward inertia left, but once that momentum fades, I think it's a straight way down the hill, and Ethereum will be just going home little by little. Why? Because it is refusing to catch up with the competition. It's not competitive. It's simply not competitive. The only thing that is left for Ethereum is its big name and still a huge faith of TradFi in it, which probably comes from lack of orientation, lack of technological knowledge, or they just want to pump it to dump it, and that's it. One of those. Okay, guys, allow me to wrap it up right here. So far, everything is looking good. I mean, according to plan, we should still see quite, boring rest of the day, maybe with the slight acceleration towards the daily close. Tomorrow, I expect to be much more pronounced to the upside, of course, upwards. And I think the rest of the week will be increasingly more explosive. The closer we get to Sunday, the higher everything will be. So yeah, position accordingly, of course. Share, like, and subscribe. Get yourself a little bit of high tech. The link to it you will find in the description section of this live stream. I mean, the link to its tutorial, how to get yourself a little bit of high tech. Don't buy too much, because that will make you overly nervous. Get yourself, I don't know, literally a couple of bucks of it, so you can qualify, categorize yourself as strong hands, have the comfort of forgetting about it for some time, just, so you give me room to, keep growing, keep working on it, widening the brand awareness, so-called, the awareness about its existence. And yeah, it's kind of a path to hire me, so I work on your bug and pumping it, right? So yeah, thank you guys for your time. Again, subscribe, share, like, subscribe, and follow, and I see you probably sometime later today. So cheers.